Hey guys, welcome. If you're joining me on YouTube, you can see that my Christmas tree is still up. I'm recording this January 11th and I'm not taking it down yet. It's still doing well. And we just love the ambient lighting and I love my Christmas tree. So I'm sticking firm with that. All right, let's dive in. As I said on the last podcast, I want to talk about the 2025 meta analysis about parental phone use. And this study was done. You can Google it. It was done with 15,000 kids. And the study conclusion is a little confusing, I feel like, because they're like, yeah, we saw significant decline in kids' cognition and all these things. And then they were like, but not that much. And so it's hard to tell what their results were, but they definitely brought up some cool things and they call it technoference. So it's basically interfering with our relationship with our kids because of our phone use. And I bring up the study because if you've seen anything about it online, what is kind of crazy to me is the amount of people who are fighting this. And I have come to the conclusion that our phones are just wrecking everything and for various reasons. And we all use it differently. And I've been very open about my struggle with my phone because I use it so much for work and how easy it is for me to fool myself. But kids are not okay. And I say this because I have a dubious luxury. Since I started my business with OCRAP potty training back in 2009, and almost instantly, my book was shared globally because military moms were sharing it. So I started getting wide swaths of people and wide swaths of cultural differences. And I have been able to see parenting trends before it really hits the zeitgeist. So it's not like I'm in any place of superiority of I know all these things, but I can see trends coming before I can see them overtaking parenting before they actually become a thing. I saw gentle parenting before gentle parenting was like out in the world. Or misconstrued gentle parenting, I should say. So one thing I'm seeing is that just the kids aren't okay. The kids aren't okay and the moms aren't okay. And I have been doing experiments because I have a much quieter life than you guys, right? I do have 37 chickens and Maverick's rambunctious, but because Pascal is grown, I have a lot more time to myself where I can observe myself. And so I have really been paying attention to my feelings, about my phone, when it's off, when it's on, when I forget it, where it is, really been able to get to some of the nitty gritty that you guys might not be picking up because you're in the thick of it, but I can see it. And I've been seeing this. We can't deny COVID put so many metaphorical nails in the coffin as well as literal, but COVID really did a number on us for isolation, for our digital lives becoming everything. But I had seen this coming a while before COVID even, and it's manifesting in anxious kids who aren't actually like diagnosed with anxiety. It's just they're presenting. So many kids are presenting as if they have a diagnosis, even though they don't, and seeing this kind of crazy behavior. But of course, in the last couple of years, I'm just blown away by how exhausted mothers are, by how burnt out, how overstimulated. And my work's taking a turn towards fixing that. And it is undeniable that the phone is wreaking havoc. Okay. So I want to go through some things that I've already talked about on this podcast. I want to reiterate them for anyone who might be new, but I also want to share some things that I've picked up on that you may not have that will bring some light to this, and also some tips and tricks that I'm using, because I don't think this is an all or nothing approach. If I had my way, I would I would live in a cave. I would live in a cave. I would easily give up my phone in a heartbeat. I would love to go back to just tight knit communities, relying on people in person, but that's not going to happen. And phones are an integral part of our lives. But I also find that if we're not honest about our phone use, we can't get anywhere. And I do find this is one of those things where people will defend it or minimize it even though we all know it's a fucking problem. Okay. And the amount of people who I feel like minimize it, and I hear this in my daily life. Oh, I don't use it that much, but I can see the person online. I can see, you know what I mean? Or when I'm in person with them, they cannot put their phone down, or they have an Apple Watch with messages and they're constantly checking their messages. They're not present. They are completely distracted. And the minute you pick up your phone, you've now entered distraction land. And the minute you pick up your phone when your child's around, you are instantly doing distracted parenting. Okay. And so I really just want to kind of dive in to what are some of the things. The scariest thing that I learned, I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and I recently went out with a couple of people I know that teach kindergarten and first grade. And all of them has said the same thing. These kids, all of them qualify for speech therapy. All of the students. That is a crisis. And yes, a lot of this is kids being on devices, but not all these kids are on devices. We're really aware now, right? So what is going on? These teachers also report, and I'm seeing the same thing online, kids are coming to kindergarten and first grade with less than preschool vocabulary. They do not have vocabulary, okay? And part of this is because of something this 2025 meta-analysis brought up with technoference. When we are on a device, we are not able to mirror properly to our kids. And mirroring has a lot to do with like our facial expressions, our nonverbal communication, and it makes us kind of like zoned out because our phone, no matter what you're doing on your phone, and please listen to me even if you don't have social media, because social media is the worst about this, but the way we use our phones for everything is also contributing. So even if you don't have social media, this could be a pitfall for you. So I want to bring up a study done a long time ago about mirroring. And this study was done concerning reactive attachment disorder. And you can easily look this up. It's on YouTube. So basically what happens is a mom is in a room with an infant and she is happy and smiling and doing all the things that indicate happiness and joy, right? And the child is mirroring back. The child is well regulated and is mimicking the mom. Not exactly, of course, it's an infant, but you can see the child smiling and reacting to what the mom is giving the child. Then the mom goes away for a second, comes back, and she is directed to be displeased and kind of angry. And so she's making those faces and has that feeling about her. Now the child takes a minute and is like kind of smiling, trying to gather back the mirroring that was done with happy and joy. And then the child starts to get distressed a little bit, but uncomfortable. Like you can see the body starting to wiggle, and the child looks like maybe a little bit of whining, but doesn't go into high distress. Then the mom goes away, comes back again a minute later, and she is told to like zone out, nothing, just not giving nothing. And the child goes into high distress within a few minutes. So the worst thing you can do is not respond to your child at all, to be zoned out, right? Being angry actually is feedback, and the child can have some mirroring with that because that means something. There's something to work with there. And that's why we always talk about, right? Kids love attention, negative or positive. If they get you going in a negative feedback loop, they're happy. They're getting something back. When you get nothing back, it's no man's land. There's nothing to help them with their nervous system. There's nothing to work against or for. And so this is the danger. We're not mirroring properly with our kids. And if you think about it, we've all been there and we've all seen it. And I am, again, not coming from a place of moral superiority because I'm in there with you, and the digital stuff snuck up on me. And I recognized it early on because Pascal, he had limits on when he could play Minecraft early on or watch his program. And he would see me on the computer or me on my phone. And he would say, well, you get to play on your device. And I'm like, I'm not playing, dude, I'm working. But they can't distinguish. Your child has no idea if you are signing them up for camp, if you are shopping for their shoes, if you are shopping for groceries online. You could be doing everything on your phone that has everything to do with your kid, but they don't know that. Instead, you're engrossed in something. And the reality of phones is that unless you are checking the weather, unless you are setting a timer, the reality is you are engaged with another task or person, right? And if we break this down, it looks like you're signing your kid up for camp registration. You're reading, you're engrossed in this. Okay, what do I have to do? Okay, how much do I owe? Where's my credit card? Okay. So it's like you're having a transaction with another person. The person just happens to be print. Okay. And this is still even more different than reading. Okay. Reading a book, a real actual book. We're in that device. And the reason I bring this up is because I don't want any of you to get defensive. Like, I am on my phone for my kid. Because we have to, again, we have to be honest. We have to look at this honestly, and we have all seen it. Even if we can't see it in ourselves, I am willing to bet we've all done it. Okay. So no shame, but we have to name it and we have to look it in the eye. We definitely have seen it in other people. We have seen it in distracted parenting, and it doesn't matter, guys. It, I want to take all like, moral stamps off of this when we look at it so we can actually see it clearly. I know you need a break. I know if your kid's playing happily on the playground, you're looking at your phone, but then your kid says, "Ma, look at me." Now, of course, can we always look at the kid? No. But when you are engrossed in something, it's going to take you, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds before you look up. And so that exact transaction is not happening. I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second here, guys, because I've been signing off with put your phone down, and I want everybody to put their phone down. But we cannot do that in this day and age, right? We need our phone for various things. And so a large part of managing phones is managing what our particular energy drains are. For me, it's Instagram. For you, it might be something else. I also found that group chats and that voice messaging apps were really interrupting my day. So I've been a big proponent of the brick. You've heard me talk about it on many, many podcasts. This is a device that you tap your phone to, and you can configure various settings and various combinations of apps. And this is great. So if I'm filming, I can shut down everything. If I just need to get a lot of work done, I can shut down Instagram and the voice messaging apps, and you can really pick and choose. And I know you can do this natively on your phone, but what I love about Brick is there's no breakthrough. And when you unbrick the phone, it's immediate. There's no lag in getting messages or whatever has backlogged while you're offline. I think our phones are such a major problem, and they're only going to get worse. They keep designing the apps, the colors, everything just to hook us more. And so I really, really, really think we need to put guardrails on, and we do have to go to extraordinary measures. I do not put shit in front of you guys that I don't fully believe in. This podcast has never had advertisements that I endorse because I don't put stuff in front of you. And largely, I think there's just so much crap. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I believe in Brick 100%. It has been such a game changer for me, and you can get 10% off. I'll leave the link in the show notes if you guys are interested. All right, now back to the podcast. The other thing that's not happening is a word volley. And I think that's why these kids are missing vocabulary. And I think they're missing missing key speech. So this is when you go back and forth. You're in the car and nobody's on a device, right? And you're like, "Oh, look at the cows. Oh, nice cows." That's a word volley. Anything that's going back and forth. But if you are not volleying back and forth, your child's not picking up on conversation cues, social cues, body language, facial expressions, and tone. So these are concerning things. And again, we all do it. So we don't need to be defensive. And if somehow you've cracked the code with your phone, I love that for you. This may not be the podcast for you, this episode. Okay. So the first thing you want to do when we're being really honest is, of course, go to your screen time and really do that, you guys. Okay. It's ugly. You may not like it, but it also tells some things. Because I have an iPhone. So when I go to my screen time, it gives me overall screen time, which will look horrific. It's like, I don't know, 12 hours sometimes, but then it shows the breakdown of the apps. And so my big concern for me personally is social media, is Instagram in particular. So whatever it is for you. Now, you go and you start seeing, so a lot of mine is Spotify. I listen to podcasts. I might be listening to music. So I don't count that, right? Because that, for me in my life, that's fun for me. And I might have headphones in, but Pascal's older. I'm not responding to him anymore. But I have noticed, even with him, if he comes into the room and I have my headphones on and I'm listening to podcast, I am annoyed as fuck that he interrupted me. So the very first thing that I do with my grown child is say, like, what? Like I'm already annoyed. And so I've noticed that. So, but if I'm listening to music, I put it on, the Bluetooth speaker or whatever. And that doesn't, I obviously don't count that in my screen time. There may be, I do go onto Facebook now once in a while because I belong to these hiking groups. So I might have some Facebook on there. I'm not wasting time. I'm going through groups. I'm picking up information about what the mountains look like. Do I need my snowshoes? So like, I don't count that, right? But make sure you check and be really honest. Are you on news sites? Are you on social media? Is your time going to texting? So I have a couple of voice note apps. Voxer I use for work. Signal I use for friends. And I do text. I look at my text time. How much time am I spending on voice notes, on Signal? Voxer is work, so that's easy for me to parse out. But Signal is friends. I can look and see, oh my God, I have spent 3 hours listening to voice notes and responding to voice notes, which is fine. Except on a work day, I don't have 3 hours. Like there's being social and then there's like too much, right? And the problem with voice notes is they're people are we're getting longer and longer with them. I've already talked about this before, group chats. How much time are you spending in group chats? Now, a lot of group chats are necessary for your kids for sports or clubs or school or things like that. But I have found that group chats of friends almost always devolve. So I have decided to not take part in group chats unless they're just for specific events to organize. And then after that, I don't like them. I delete them. And I know my friends that a couple of people have been like, oh, you just left the group chat. And I'm like, nothing against anybody. I can't handle it because it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that's time. That's my time. And that's my energy. And that's me like reading a text and figuring out what the person meant. And, there's a lot more than just reading a text that goes into a text. And texts have gotten so bad lately. It's like you really have to kind of sit like, oh, what did they mean by that? Or, oh, that wasn't clear. Like I'm finding that we're losing skills even with text. So that's the first part, is be really, really honest. I wanted to kind of do a little non sequitur because this really scared the heck out of me. And this is where I got like, oh my God, we've got to go back to some analog things, particularly reading. So I follow on Instagram a few people who are like really good at book people. They're all about reading and bringing reading back, and especially with books, and they highlight their favorites, and everybody was bringing up Fahrenheit 451, which is a dystopian sci-fi, Ray Bradbury. I'm pretty sure it was assigned in high school. And so I said, let me pick it up. I can't remember if I read it, but let me pick it up. I do remember reading Brave New World, Handmaid's Tale in high school. Handmaid's Tale freaked the hell out of me for good. And The Animal Farm, 1984, those. And so I started reading Fahrenheit 451, and I hadn't read it. I had no recollection of reading it. But here's what scared the shit out of me. The first 10 pages were almost like reading Shakespeare. Like I had to go back and sort of translate the words. And I realized because the author was using heavy visual symbolism, allegory, analogies, like because he was using this rich language, I hadn't read rich language like that in so long. It was foreign to me and I had a hard time at first. It was just the first 10 pages and then I kind of like I got it back, but it freaked me out. Guys, I took 4 years of Latin. I'm an author. I love words. I scored perfect on my verbal SAT. Like I love words. I love finding the exact nuanced word for the thing I mean. I love people call me the analogy queen. I love taking information and being able to like kind of translate it for a younger person or somebody who might not understand it. I love Shakespeare. I'm fluent in Shakespeare. I performed Shakespeare. And I struggled and I was like, holy shit, what happened to my mind? I realized I'm in cognitive decline because of short form video, because I'm consuming content that is meant for third graders. It used to be that the New York Times was written at an 8th grade level. They've lowered that to 6th grade. And I have heard some authors say that they are requested to write at a 4th grade level. Okay. That's where our country has gone. That's where our society has gone. We're losing cognition. And of course, obviously, there's some people for whom this isn't true, but I'm sounding the alarm bell because I'm a reader. And the fact that just slightly richer language, more poetic, more metaphorical, more symbolism made me like have to repeat a few sentences. That was a kicker for me. So I just I read it and I actually contacted a friend. This is something fun you could do too. I was calling everybody because number one, you have to read that book, Fahrenheit 451, because Ray Bradbury wrote it 60 years ago, and it is unbelievable what he has predicted. The parallels to our current society, from constantly having earbuds in our ears, needing noise, needing stimulation all the time, to censorship and cancel culture. Like, it's all in there. It's crazy. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And there were a couple of passages that I found fascinating. And I was reaching out to friends and I was like, did you read this? Did you read this? And everybody's like, oh, no, no, no. But then one friend, my friend Melissa, said, I'll read it with you. Hold on. Stop reading. I'll read it with you. So we've been reading it in tandem. Oh, and that's the funnest thing ever, you guys. So we would check in daily, and we didn't want to give spoilers, but it was so nice to be able to process a book with another person. And so we are planning a book vacation where we go and just read a book together somewhere where we aren't overstimulated. I just thought it was really fun. So that is why I'm going to be that's why I'm so into this subject right now, not only because of this study and because of what we're finding with kids and moms not being okay and overstimulated, but because I scared myself straight. And so let's go over some things though that I noticed. So in addition to like how you use your phone, a couple of things that became very apparent to me, because again, I have a quiet life and I was able to really observe my own feelings in real time, which I think is really hard to do when you're in the thick of it. One thing I noticed is I have been trying to read books a lot more, and I got really into reading these books about the White Mountains, which is the mountain range that I'm currently hiking. It has the worst weather in the world. Mount Washington, a lot of people train on it for Mount Everest, and a lot of people have died in the White Mountains. And so I'm reading the search and rescue and recovery just to see what people did wrong so that I don't do that, and how they messed it up. And these books are riveting. For the first time in 20 years, I read 2 books in like 2 days. I was just like, boom, 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 like cooking dinner with a book in my hand, like just a bookworm. And it reminded me of like when I was in 4th grade and I was like constantly had a book in my hand. And so one thing I did notice though is that like I would keep the books out, and after reading those in such a fast succession, I was like, yes, get back to reading. And so I would keep a book out on my coffee tables. Right, my house is tiny, right, you could see the coffee table in frame. I keep it really available so that in those odd moments that I had with a little bit of time, I could pick up a book. And don't you know, did I pick up the book? No, because if I have 10 minutes, a book literally feels like too much work, because I'm going to have to pick it up. I'm going to have to find my place on the page where I was. I'm going to have to kind of remember what I read last. I'm going to read, and then my time's going to be up, and I'm probably going to be into the story, and then I'm going to be interrupted, and that's a drag. So what did I do? Pick up my phone, because if I have 10 minutes, it's easier to scroll social media, right? And I thought you guys might find that interesting, because I bet you do the same thing, because you only have 10 minutes. You have a second alone. You know you're going to be interrupted. So what's the easiest thing to do? You want a little break. You want a little dopamine hit. You go on your phone and you scroll. And it seems so innocuous. The problem is that in 1 or 2 scrolls, right, in 10 minutes, you're going to get a lot of information. You're going to get visuals. You're going to get ideas. You're going to get stimulated. You're going to see something that pisses you off. You're going to see something that makes you feel bad because you're not doing it. You're going to see something you want to do, something you want to cook, something you should be doing with your kid. I just listed 7 posts. You can easily see 7 posts in under a minute. And all that information is now in your head. Now, all that information, you found something that pissed you off, something that you loved, something you should be doing that you feel bad that you're not, somebody who's doing it better than you, and some expert advice. That is insane to try to take in under 10 minutes. And now you're full. So now your kid's going to need you. You know your kid's going to need you. And they come in whining about something. you're already overstimulated. So it is wild to me, right? This, I really played around with this, and I was so shocked at how often I wouldn't pick up the book, or I wouldn't go put in a load of laundry or wash a couple of dishes or I don't know, whatever, you know? Instead, the phone was easy. Now, I also found a compulsion, and I'm going to do a whole podcast on this, but I have, I live in this like cute as hell little cottage in the woods, stone cottage, and I have all these ideas to make it a little more whimsical, a little more magical. And I am not good at handyman stuff. I am not good. I am petrified of painting. I am petrified of putting things on the wall. I'm petrified of making a mistake because I'm a wrecker. I'm a spiller. I don't measure anything. I don't, I would never use a level. And so, and I realized I broke through that with sort of a magical thing that, again, it deserves its own podcast. I won't get into it here, but I broke through that. And what I could see after I broke through it is how much I go on my phone as a way to be, quote unquote, doing something when I feel particularly inept and when I feel procrastination because I don't feel good. I'm afraid of making a mistake, or I feel like, no, I don't feel like a loser, but I feel like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Or I'm unsure of myself. When I am sure of myself, I move with great confidence and I often forget about my phone. But when I am unsure of myself, for some reason, the phone, maybe it's a numbing thing, a dissociative thing. Maybe it just seems like easy. Maybe the easy dopamine is where I get a little feeling better about myself, right? Horrific. This is a horrific habit. I am not proud of this at all, but I noticed it happening. And so it gets crazy. All right. So what can we do about it, right? And I'll tell you what I did about it. So one thing about my job, so when I post on Instagram, when any creator posts on Instagram, the algorithm favors you if you sort of babysit it for an hour, because if people respond, you responding back, it creates like the algorithm thinks like, oh, there's interest in the person's here, and this is gaining traction. So that's kind of one of the things you have to do. You don't have to, but if you want your posts to be wider seen, you should babysit it for like an hour. The problem is then it's so easy to babysit it and go to start scrolling, to do other things. The phone's in your hand, right? It's so easy. And it's so easy also if you get a shitty comment or you get a great comment. It's all dopamine. None of this is oxytocin. None of this is actually regulating my nervous system. None of this is actually relaxing me. It just, my brain has gotten addicted to it and is like, oh, good, there's my drug, right? So then, so I had a project going on and I needed to do quite a few little things in my kitchen. I'm redoing it. So painting and, caulking and these kinds of things. And I could feel the draw. I kept wanting to check the post, see, babysit it for a little bit. And then I was like, oh my God. So I started doing this. I'm a fan of the brick. I just had like 8 people on social media tell me, I'm breaking my phone now. Thank you so much. It's so helpful. A lot of people, even on these comments, said, at first I didn't want to spend the money. Guys, spend the money. I think it's like $50. In the show notes, there's a link for 10% off. It is so worth it. It builds in this pause because you actually have to go to unbrick your phone. And more, when I break up my phone, I feel this sense of peace because I'm closing the door on the world. And that feels so good. Like, nope, thank you, internet. I've had enough for today. And then I instantly start to regulate. So I'm reversing my own drug drug response here. But what I did the other day is I started using it. I was so drawn to check on things that I said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Brick up your phone for 30 minutes. Then you can check in 30 minutes. And that changed everything, you guys. So I just want to tell you, because if you are in a position like me where you know it's your drug and and you feel the compulsion and you feel unable to stop it, brick up your phone for a set amount of time. The things you get done in that 30 minutes are enough to change everything. I started doing this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and then I really, really did it almost in a funny way, last weekend, like just literally 30 minutes, I go on and check. And then the relief I felt when I bricked up my phone again, um, it was so visceral. It was so nice. I was like, oh, I'm at peace enough that I started going in 2 hour chunks, 3 hour chunks. And then at some point you get to be like, Instagram is so fucking fake. Like, it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter. The posts are insane. It's not real life. So anyway, I got to that point. um, but I wanted to, if you're unfamiliar, if you're new to me and this is your first podcast, the brick allows you to to close down any configuration of apps. So for me, on these days, what I'm doing is I'm bricking Instagram and I'm bricking Signal, the voice messaging notes from my friends, because I have to, we have to go back to a point where my work days are my work days. Yes, I work from home. Yes, I make my own schedule, but it's still work. And I can't act like I don't have anything to do. And even if you don't work outside the home, like work at an office or a corporate or a paycheck job, you work inside the home. Like, we were never available this much. And so it's funny because at first I felt guilty, like, oh, my friends aren't, are going to have to wait all day. Tough. If I was in an office job, they would have to wait all day. Right. Uh, so honoring that felt really good. So that's what I personally break up. That's my thing. You're going to go to your screen time and figure out what your thing is, because I think we all have our own. Okay. So that is the first thing I did, and that was kind of life changing. Sorry, I made notes so that I didn't forget anything. Um, the next thing I think that I've been doing, and I think you guys should do this again, because our kids don't know what we're doing on our phone. I think it's better to save all your admin tasks, if you can, till nighttime or early morning, or when the kids are sleeping, or when they're napping, or when they are maybe watching a little something themselves, or they're playing independently. And you're like, guys, I have to work on the computer for 30 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. Nobody bug me. You got your snacks. You got your all your stuff you need. I'm going to be here doing my work. And so do your admin tasks then, like whatever it is, paying for bills, signing your kids up, shopping online, whatever you may have to do. And I really encourage you guys to take it to the computer. And believe it or not, I'm actually calling computer work analog now. Okay. I know it's not, but go sit at the computer, because you establish a place. Even if you have a laptop, you establish a place. You can establish, I'm working right now. It's just not, it doesn't have the same pull as the phone. We know it doesn't. So most computers, you don't have the scroll feature, and it is, you read things differently on the phone. You don't get, on the computer, you don't get sucked in the way you may get sucked in with your phone. The other thing is, I think because of the narrowness of the device, we're not reading on a phone the same way we read on a computer. Our eyes are tracked to go a little longer, and the phone is so narrow and sort of truncated. It is, I forget, there's a name for it, but our eyes are kind of moving through it too fast. And then it's really hard because the scroll itself, what's available on the screen, like, you have to just kind of keep scrolling, and we don't take in information the same way. And so I know this. I know a lot of people, when they take my courses, they'll like forget, they'll miss entire parts of my courses. And I'm like, how is that happening? And then I realized, I think a lot of it is because on the phone, it's just incredibly hard to read long form things. So it's so much easier for whatever you need to do to take it to the computer. So I would highly suggest that. And again, creating this time where your child knows what you're doing. Please don't disturb me. I'll set a timer, and you can get everything done. I do know that there are some situations that you may have to attend to something right away. A doctor calls you back, or again, I know signing up for camps is like, it's like, trying to get a Taylor Swift ticket, I think, right? Like, I know some people have to like be ready at midnight or shit like that. So if it is that kind of thing, yes, of course. But for all intents and purposes, it's far better if you can, just delay it. And also, what I find is it helps my nervous system. um, how do I want to phrase this? It makes me feel like I'm honoring myself, because I'm not at everybody's beck and call. Everything can wait at least a few hours till I'm sitting at my desk. I'm not doing anything. I'm not multitasking, and I can attend to answering these emails. I can open up my voice messaging app. I can look at my texts and I can say, okay, now I'm responding to things. But what's happening is we are so divided in our attention when we are attempting to text 7 different people, listen to a voice note, got a podcast on. Of course, we're overwhelmed. Of course, we're overwhelmed. And that's not even social media. So if you are overwhelmed and overstimulated, this is the first place you've got to look. This is the low hanging fruit. And again, I am astounded at myself because I don't consider myself overstimulated. I am not in the trenches like you guys. I am not as busy as you guys. And the amount of distraction when our attention is split is just unbelievable. And you don't know it till you can really put your phone down. And if you think you don't have a phone problem and you think this doesn't apply to you, awesome. I dare you to leave your phone powered off in your bedroom in a drawer for 24 hours. And let's see how you feel about it then. And so many people say, no, 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 I have to text my husband. No, 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 I have to know where my kids are. No, 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 I can't do that. Exactly. That's the fucking problem. And I talk to a lot of people, and I talk to people who don't have social media. I talk to people who feel like, no, 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 the phone's not everything. And they're like, I could kill this device. It's almost like society makes us be on it so we can fight back by honoring ourselves and saying, yes, I have to be on this, but you don't get to dictate when I'm on it. And that's what feels really good to me. That feels like a nervous system reset, but that also feels like I'm showing up for me in my own life because I fucking matter. So do you. And this is part of this whole thing that I've been talking about. Moms feeling like they're palm trees in a hurricane because we're letting everybody have a piece of us, right? We're letting the wind dictate our lives instead of taking control. And this, I can't, if I sound like a broken record, if I sound kooky, it's because I think we're all underestimating how much damage this is doing. And I have just found in the last 2 weeks, like, holy shit, this is truly the low hanging fruit to get our nervous systems back. It's the biggest thing, I think, without us even knowing it. All right, let's move on. Okay. Here's a few things that I have done that are just, they sound so silly, but they actually have been game changers. Okay, so the iPhone did an update that I freaking hated. It it was like, if you have an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. Is the last update, and it was bubbles. Like everything was, it was like a teenage girl, like a 12-year-old girl designed everything. Everything was bubbles. They add the heart. The emojis look like juicy or fatter or something. I don't know. It looks very young to me. I hated it, and I hated the apps almost have a translucent quality. And so I was like, oh, I was just bitching and moaning about it. And Pascal said, he said, oh, I put a darker background on mine. Here, do you want me to fix your phone? Yeah, please fix my phone. So he puts just a random wallpaper on my phone. Just a picture. It looks like maybe like in China. And my wallpaper has always been Maverick or me and Pascal, or Pascal when he was a baby. Changing it to something random that I don't know, that I don't identify with, literally has changed how I feel about my phone. So now, if you even think about it, and again, it sounds so stupid, but you pick up your phone, and if it's a picture of your kid, you're like, oh, so you're cradling this device like it's your fucking kid. Oh, there's my baby. He was so cute in that picture. Like you have this little ding of like, oh, there's my baby. We don't need to do that on the device, right? We want to make the device a device, not a love object. So I think, this goes back. It kind of just flashed back to one of Pascal's schoolmates when he was younger in kindergarten. The dad had a Mac, and Macs were kind of getting hot at the time. And I said to the dad, I said, oh my God, do you love your Mac? And he was like, well, I don't associate words like love with my computer. It's a tool. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's interesting. I thought he was being a little high and mighty, but now I get it. Although we can love tools, right? Um, uh, so just that small thing. Now, the next thing I do is I go to grayscale, and this also can't be underestimated. So grayscale is when you take the color out. And if you go in iPhones, you can go to accessibility, You go under the settings, you go under accessibilities, then you go to display and text, and then you go to color filters, and there's a toggle button. And if you press color filters, you can see, and you can take out all kinds of colors. Grayscale works for me, and there's an intensity slide button. So if you have that very intense, it's going to be very gray. It's a little disconcerting. It turns your phone into a newspaper. I don't go full grayscale. It was a little too time consuming. You can't even find your apps because all your apps are identified by color. I swear to God. But if you have kids and they're begging you for your device, give them the device on grayscale. They'll not even be interested. It's the colors. The colors, everything about the phone is built for addiction. It's slot machine technology, the colors, the scroll, everything. So I just use if you slide the toggle button on the intensity, it goes, it gets a little like almost muted colors, very, very muted. And that has been a game changer as well. And it's really funny because people will, if I'm trying to show them pictures and I forget to change it back, they're like, how did you do that to your phone? It's like your phone's being quiet, like the lights are quiet. And I was like, I know. And so it's really interesting because then when I toggle it back to the full color, which I try to do when I do videos so I can actually see what the color looks like, it almost makes me cry. The colors are so jarring. And just do this for a couple of days and you will see what an effect the colors have on you and how janky it makes your nervous system, just the pure colors alone. So those are kind of these background things that I've done that have just helped me get a little distance. But by far the biggest one for me again is the brick. Just it's so it's so quiet. It shuts the door on the world, and I can feel it because I try to put it on. I do it throughout the day now a lot, but I try to do it at like 4 or 5 o'clock at night if I can. Sometimes I can't, and then I really try to delay it in the morning. Definitely not the first thing in the morning. Just no, I don't want the world yet. I want to walk Maverick. I want to go to the gym. I want to cook my breakfast. I want to have a cup of coffee. Obviously, I know you guys have a little more hustle in the morning because you have littles, but I want the morning to be about me. And I would encourage you to do the same. Make the morning about you and your kids. If you don't pick up your phone till after they leave, and please, please, please be aware of how much you're going to trick yourself. This is the wild thing. Be aware of when I say that you don't need your phone in the morning. Be aware of all the voices that come up and say, yeah, but, I have to check on, yeah, but. Do you? Do you? And what can you do that's analog, right? Do you have to check the weather? Can you check that on the computer? Because it's going to be different than opening up your phone. Do you need an alarm clock on your phone? No, you can get an alarm clock for your bedroom. Yes, and you should. Do you need the flashlight because it's dark? No. Get a little flashlight or have soft lighting or a motion sensitive night light. Do you need the things you think you need, or is your brain saying, yes, please, I need the little addiction? I can't believe we're even arguing that the phone is addictive. There's people like, it doesn't meet the DSM criteria. Yeah, but can you go 24 hours without it? So all of this is meant to be investigative. Be curious about yourself because, again, if we don't name it, we can't do anything about it. And with that, I think all my notes are complete. This has gotten long, so I apologize. Yeah, I got all my notes. So just notice if you are procrastinating because you feel inept because you don't feel good at what you're doing. I think that happens a lot with moms. I think they feel like I'm shitty at this, so I need tips. I'm going to go on social media and find that. Or I think a lot of us are lonely and think that we need to find solidarity online, but we're not finding solidarity. What we're finding is dopamine, and it's just going to continue to tell your brain what is important. And so the more we can extricate ourselves from this and get control over it. Somebody commented on Instagram that they can no longer trust self-control. I think for the majority of us, that train has left the station. Thinking you have self-control is the downfall, right? That's almost where everybody tips over in whatever you look at, addiction, because dopamine tells the brain what's important. This is a neurochemical reaction. It's not you. It's not a moral failing. It's not you being lazy. It's not you doing something wrong. It's literally a neurochemical reaction, and your brain is looking for it now. So, so allow the mornings to be about you. get up early, have your cup of coffee, whatever you do in the morning, and allow it to be soft and gentle with your children, because that's going to set the tone for the whole day. And if we get up and the first thing we do is open the door to the rest of the world and allow them into our heads, you are they're without a doubt overstimulating yourself. And we can't control how much our kids are overstimulating. They are overstimulating. Life is overstimulating, but we can control our baseline. And again, I love the feeling of I'm important. I'm important enough to show up for me without everybody else's opinion. And that's a good one. Breathe into that one. All right, you guys, I love you. Put your phone down and rock on. Have an awesome day, you guys.